and we're very driven by data, but we're also doing curation. On the curation side, we had a full takeover for Women's Day of female artists on our homepage and in all our channels. We have playlists dedicated to female DJs. Is it enough? I don't know exactly where the benchmark is. When is it enough? Is it enough when exactly 50% of all streams come from female artists? Or is it only enough when it reflects the split in the overall population, where we have 52% of women living on this planet? I don't know. I think we do what we can. I think we're gender neutral. I don't think that any of our editors says like, I push my male buddy friends DJs into the front line. I think they push the music that they think fits the taste.
Well, I'll answer that. We haven't done enough until it's 52% of the people standing on this stage. We haven't done enough until it's 52% of the people at every festival are women. While I think that IMS, obviously, because of the earlier panel, is taking some positive steps, I think it's important to note that even when people think they aren't just promoting their buddies, they do. There's all sorts of scientific evidence of implicit and explicit bias. Until we can all acknowledge that, I don't think we can turn the corner. And as long as it's a bunch of white men, I think we're all straight as well, so we've got the trifecta here of non-inclusiveness, that until that really changes and represents the population, we have to accept that there is a systematic problem. This didn't happen organically. It is a systematic problem. There's no one individual to blame, and that's why I say it's a systematic problem, because each of us can think we're doing the right thing, but we have to step back from what we think we're doing and look at the reality on the ground. And the reality on the ground is that our market came from Black culture, gay culture. The very first software programmers in the world were women. And somehow we've eradicated almost all of those groups from where we're sitting right now. So I think we have a tremendous amount of work to do, and I will continue to be embarrassed until we solve it.
So Matt, obviously the music creation process starts with production and composition, and Native Instruments is obviously a leader in that segment of the industry. So what are you guys doing to try to, obviously you're in the middle of releasing new products and focused heads down, but are you doing something sort of culturally as a company to try to promote?
We're trying to do two things. There's who are our customers, and just like everybody else in the musical instrument space, too many of our customers are men. We haven't brought enough women on board. And then we're also trying to focus on bringing more women on board internally as a tech company. In our Los Angeles office, we've made a lot of strides by working with She Said So, by working with an organization called Girls Who Code. Native Instruments has sponsored Girls at Work Day pretty regularly, and we've learned that there are actual scientific things you can do to make your workplace more inclusive and diverse. Diversity has to do with getting people in the door, and inclusiveness has to do with keeping them and making an environment where they can be empowered and successful. There are some simple tools out there. For instance, there are actually words in the English language that if you put them in a job description, cause fewer women to apply for the job. There are even websites now where you can upload your job description and it'll spit out and highlight for you, if you change this word, if you change this word, you're more likely to get a diverse respondent group. So we're on the hiring side, we're doing that. We're also making sure that there's no gender pay gap at my office, which I think is significant, and I guarantee is a problem where all of us work. On the front of trying to grow our customer base, the last thing we will ever do is put out a pink tractor controller. Although you'd be surprised how many companies do try with certain things like that. But our focus is to find more women when they're first inspired to make music, be part of their journey, and I think you can see that reflected in the Native Instruments Sketches campaign that's running right now, where we're working with 20 new artists.
Thank you. So Jonathan, there's been a similar optimism from a lot of industry execs about the emerging markets over the past 5 or 10 years, but it finally seems like there's some traction there. Do you think it's real this time, and what is Pandora doing to sort of address that opportunity?